Welcome back. It's Saturday. What do I like to do on a Saturday night? I like to mix and master, baby. That's what I do. That's what I love doing, all right? I would do it if I have free time. I mix, I produce, I make music because I like it. I also get paid for it, so that's always good. But we are at the third part of this series. This song, we're going to finish off a song by Kristen Corbet and Jake Hayes. Jake Hayes is the producer. Kristen is the artist, the singer on here. And I think the songwriter as well. And we're diving right back in. Pro Tools. I hope you guys are ready. If this is your first live stream, this is like in-depth mixing and mastering. I've done 2 other live streams on this same exact song. So if you want to get those replays, you can join the channel as a member for $5 a month, and you'll get access to all the replays of everything I ever do on these live streams. Well worth it, in my opinion. All right, how y'all doing? Who's in the house? I want to know who's here on a Saturday, who's really committed. What's up, Philippe? How you doing? Philippe's committed. I know that. That's no doubt about that shit. All right. Yeah, Brian Olson, I know you're here, bro. All right, cool. Drew, what's up, man? Nos vamos. All right, so shit. Hopefully you guys have been tapped in with the new single too. I dropped a new single yesterday. It's called Bring Those Good Times Back, and it's doing really well. People are really liking it. I actually am getting it, really exciting news for the 4 of you that are here right now. I'm getting it pitched to K-Rock here in LA, which is a radio station. And I'm just really hyped about it because one of the DJs was really excited about the song and he's going to pitch it. No promises. I have no idea if it'll actually end up on the radio, but I thought it was cool anyway that he even wanted to pitch it to the radio. But yeah, it's been doing really great, and I appreciate you guys sharing it, making content, using the sound, all that good stuff. It means a lot. So really appreciate the support on the new drop. And thanks for tuning in, and I'm going to keep dropping content on it, like how I made the song, production stuff. I might do a masterclass on it if enough people are into it. And yeah, I'll break down everything. I'll go through the songwriting, production, arrangement, mixing, mastering, all that stuff. Yo, what's up? Kusa's in the house. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to make, and I'm just really excited about how it's getting received. People are really liking it. So enough about my song. Let's turn into Black Leather here. Let's get into some Black Leather. All right, let's hear where we're at real quick. I'm just going to bounce back and forth from the reference to where I have the mix right now. So here's the reference.
Oh, baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane. I'm spinning out of... Baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane. I'm spinning out of control, no one can save me, and I swear you're the one to blame. 'Cause baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane, but yeah, we're on fire, we're burning.
All right, so we've opened it up quite a bit. We've got some new kind of vibes on it, which I think sounds just a lot more professional. Sounds more like a record to me right now. So we have a few more stems to bring in. I'm going to show you how to do that. And we're going to finish this bad boy off. I'm excited to show you guys some cool plugins and tools. We're actually going to finish this thing. We're going to like go all the way to the finality, making a bounce and everything. So if you're here right now, you're going to get a lot out of this, hopefully. That's always my plan. So I got background vocals here. It looks like everything left is just vocals. Yeah, vocal. We have a little effects thing going on here. We have a lead vocal. Yeah, so I'm going to take all these lead vocal things and make sure that these are in because they are the lead vocal. Very important. And so for these are kind of like little background areas, and it looks like this is part of something else. I just have to kind of read these. Lead vocal verse 2B section. So let's just kind of hear what this is. And a lot of times if you just want to hear what they are, unmute them. You can hold down Option Shift in Pro Tools, unmute what is selected. And then you can also do the solo that way as well. So whatever you got selected, you can Option Shift. It doesn't work like Logic where if you just have something selected, Like if you have a group of tracks selected and you hit solo or mute, they're not going to solo or mute those groups. You have to actually hold down the key command Option Shift, okay? So that's going to do to selected. All right, so I'm going to solo these. I'm also going to take these directly out to the vocal mix bus, right? Because these all need to be combined in the vocal mix bus if they're vocals. So Vox Mix, bam, and then I probably just kind of eyeball where these are as far as gain goes. And these are like -7.9 for the lead. So I'll probably do the same thing here. I'll just grab this and go, hey, I'm going to do -7.9 or so, -8.6. It doesn't really matter. Somewhere around there. Okay, I'm just kind of gaining it down so that it's not like super loud when I play it. Okay, and here's this part. Let's hear it.
Your pretty face is going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Your pretty face is going to hell.
Okay, so this looks like it is the lead vocal part. Now, because we already have a lead vocal track, i.e. this guy here, or this girl, right? This is the chorus main. This is the background vocal. This is a lead vocal verse, right? So it looks like I want to group it with the other verse, right? So you see that here? And a lot of the times artists or producers will do this where they have it on another track because it runs into another lead vocal, right? Like it overlaps. And you can see it overlaps here. And that's why they gave me the stem on a separate track and probably why they had a separate track. But let's hear it as it goes from one vocal to the other and just kind of hear what we can do with it.
For eternity.
Yeah, so as I vocal produce, I constantly think about this when I'm working with artists. I'll have them take over and over and over again so that that doesn't happen. And the reason I don't like that is because I don't like when you have like a clip going over another one that's supposed to be a lead vocal. It never sounds really natural to me. It sounds like a punch, right? Even when you hear this, it sounds like a punched vocal.
I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. For eternity.
Right? So obviously we need to match the channel strips so it does not sound as much like a punch. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this channel strip. In Pro Tools, we can just go save channel strip preset, and we could say, let's go Kristen lead vox verse. Okay. And then what you want to do here is you have a category here. You can go to user and do it in your vocal chains, which is usually what I would do. And then that way it would save it in your own vocal chains folder. And then it's going to do tags. Include audio and MIDI clips? No, because then you don't want the audio to come up every time. You know what I mean? We just want to recall the plugins and all that stuff. So hit OK. Now we've saved that as a channel strip. Now we can open this channel strip here by just going, recall. So now we can recall the track preset we just saved. And we'll go to user, and we'll go to vocal chains, and then we'll go to Kristen lead vox verse. Now the cool thing about the track presets in Pro Tools is that it's going to save everything. It's going to give you the volume. It's going to give you the sends, everything. So that's really nice because then you have an exact replica of what this channel was already. And we know that this is the verse and this is the verse. And there's one thing I kind of am looking at here. I would just want to gain this a little bit up, right? So that it does have kind of a matched gain. And I do that a lot, like where I just eyeball the waveform. You know, like you could see this and you could see this going in and how different these are. You can also hit E on the keyboard and that'll like expand it to the full screen. That'll help you sometimes, like you go whoop and then go E. And you can see how big the waveform is here. And, you know, you could see those peaks and stuff, like how loud those are. So if I compared those, like you see how dim that is, you might want to just bring this up a little bit and then try to get it in between these two, right? It has a lot to do with the performance as well, right? Like if this is more quiet and it's chill and then it's like building to something bigger. So obviously always use your ears, okay? And then we're going to double click the color bar here and we're going to make sure that we color the clips in the tracks pink as well. All right, so now let's hear this together.
I do. Your pretty face is going to hell. I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. For eternity, yeah, you cross your heart, you'd never leave me. Know that I fucked up too many.
Okay, so this is sounding really punched, and we got to be really careful with that. Like, that's something that, you know, you have like da 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 for eternity. Like, it starts to sound different, right? So we don't want that. So what we really have to do is start to really pay attention to how subtle the differences are. This comes in pretty like, you know, low end, kind of more low end on the body of the vocal. So I'm just going to kind of take it down, and we're just going to kind of play this section and make sure it flows really nice.
Seem too bad from what I can tell. For eternity, yeah, you cross your heart, you'd never leave me. Know that I fucked up.
All right, so that's getting there, right? Like, it's just a volume thing to me. There is a little bit more body in this punch right here, but I'm just going to kind of, you know, take this down a little bit until it feels really smooth.
Doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. For eternity, yeah, you cross your heart, you'd never leave me. Know that
All right, so that's sounding pretty nice. Another thing, this is a background verse harmony, right? So I kind of want to make this different. I don't want this to be so similar to the lead vocal. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of just gets on top of it. Okay, so let me just solo this so you can hear this, and then we'll bounce from the background to the lead so you can hear the difference.
going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell.
Okay, so the lead to me has more body, and it has more upfrontness because of that body in the vocal, which is that mid-range, you know, that 500 area. It goes all the way down to 200, really, where that... She's like really thick on the chesty area and almost down to the bottom of her throat. So it's like in between there is what I'm hearing. And then on the harmony, she's up in her head voice, right? So she's going, right? So that's in your nose and in your head. So what we want to do is kind of accentuate that head voice. The way to do that is to look at this EQ and go, hey, how do we make this a little bit more head voice, but not sound too brittle or harsh? You know what I mean? So there's a couple of things I would do here. I might just leave this alone, and I might go to something like a harmonic idea, right? So I want to like give it some harmonics up there. So it gives it like that breathy kind of vibe, right? Sometimes a really good way to do this is just to use a Pultec, right? Is just turn on something that has a great color and a nice top end, and just turn it on, and then maybe you can do like a little bit of boost like at the very top.
Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell.
Right, so just kind of gives it some of that air at the top. Another trick, and maybe something that might be cool, is let's bypass this and let's try like a... Antares has in the EFX Plus, which I think is actually a really cool feature, is this breath module. Okay, so I'll turn off everything else. You can just leave this in chromatic. I don't even want the tuning on. I can literally just turn the auto tune off. And just the breath, and we're gonna mess around with this breath idea, because this could be really cool. Instead of trying to put EQ into it, because I feel like it's kind of bringing the S's down, up a little bit. A little too much sibilant stuff. So let's try this breath.
Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell.
Like, how dope is that? That's pretty dope, right? Like, it's just giving the breath, but it's not bringing the sibilants out. And I think that's really magical. Now I'm blending it. See, I'm using the mix knob because I'm not tuning or anything. I'm just adding this little breath area. Another thing I want to try is the duet on here. Reason being is because I feel like it'll give it some more smooth textures on it, right? And it'll kind of sit in the mix a little bit better and also differentiate the lead from the background vocal in the stack.
Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell.
All right, there you go. Now with the EQ P1A, I liked what it was doing. It was kind of giving it more texture, but I'm not going to boost as much. I'm just going to maybe give it deet like that. And we'll turn the attenuate down and we'll make this really broad. So it's more of like a broad slope up. Okay. Now let's check this out before and after these two plugins we just added.
Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell.
Pretty cool, right? So it gives it a little texture. I'm gonna back off just a little bit on the breath. And yeah, what is this? Yeah, I'm just going to take the mix down a little bit as well on the breath because that's very like apparent. You got to be careful with that. It'll get really intense.
Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell.
Dope. So that's a great way to just kind of differentiate those two and make this more of a background harmony rather than like right on top of it, right? A lot of people just like drown in reverb. It's like, that's not really the wave, you know? That's not the way to like differentiate these things. You could also use doublers. You could use chorusing, things like that to kind of make a double kind of feel more in the mix, right? Another thing I just want to kind of touch on this EQ is maybe just de-essing a little bit of the really sibilant part where she's hitting. I don't really like that part.
Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell.
Yeah, I don't like that 3K area in her voice on this. And I think it's because it's like, and I want it to be more whispery, you know? I want it to be more instead of, you know what I mean? So, I know I'm just making noises, but, you know, for real though, like you got to just kind of dip that down. I always am going to defer to a dynamic EQ. And then if you bring the gain up again, it's only going to duck this when it kind of passes a certain threshold. Okay, so that's like very, very subtle EQing.
Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Eternity. Going to hell, guess I'm going as well. It doesn't.
All right, that's feeling good. It's feeling nice and glued. Really beautiful harmony. And yeah, like, you know, 2K area, like 2 to 3K can get really harsh in certain vocals, but sometimes it can help it cut and it can help it like stand out in a mix. So sometimes when a vocal gets lost, you want to make sure that you have that 3K in there, that 3.5. I don't like 4K too much and I don't like 2K too much. I find that like 2K to 2.4K is like, it's so hard on my ears. Like I really do try to duck that and just tame it. I don't like to duck it, but I like to tame it because vocals are just in that range naturally, and it's always like the baby screaming area, that right? So anytime you hit a note that's in that area, you want to kind of you want to just take it down, right? So that the other parts come up, like the body, the air, all that kind of stuff. So I just try to tame it with multiband compression, dynamic EQ, etc. Okay. Yo, my guy Piercy, what's up, man? How are you? It's good to see you, bro. I see you dropping records. What do you got? I bought the WA8000. Dope. Let me know how you like it. I have no idea how good it is. I haven't used any of Warm Audio's stuff. I think that's like the Sony, right? I got to cut with my current mic for almost every song. It's rough. Yeah, you got a 102. 102, TLM 102 is going to like hit that really, really hard. And remember, transformerless TLMs, because they don't have a transformer in them or any tubes in them or anything like that to saturate and soften that area, they are really, really peaky on that area. Which is good. They're good for certain things like horns and stuff, or strings, or things that you want to be really like stand out in that area and really, you know, to cut through mixes. That's really what it's for, right? You're no color, so you could color it with other gear, but for sure it's like very peaky there. It'll start to really hit you. Yeah, and it'll exhaust your ears, and then also you'll start to, like, as you mix longer and longer, your ears compress that frequency really hard. So especially like if you turn your speakers up, holy shit, man, y'all will have like these really intensely harsh records because you keep turning your speakers up and your ears compress the 2-3K range, even 1K, you know, and then you keep pushing that area up and then it just gets really bad. Yo, what's good? From Chile. Good to see you, man. Yeah, R&B pop vocals, man, you know, it's all about smooth butter, harmonics, tubes, you know. Yo, what's good, man? Good to see you. Reggae Bible's in the house. It's always good to see like you guys coming through over and over again, because I feel like you're the ones that are going to get results. You know what I mean? Like other people, they show up every once in a while and they're like, you know, hey, I didn't learn a bunch. I didn't get a game changer, bro. You didn't tell me the plugin you were using. What was the settings on your compressor? Like, bro, it's every fucking track is different. If I'm mixing a hip hop record, it all depends. How was it recorded? Like, where was it recorded? What kind of mic? What kind of gear? Ah, my man. Man, I appreciate that. That's real love. Over here humbling me, bro. Yeah, I work really hard on all my records, man. I really, really put a lot of time into them, so I really appreciate it. You know, you guys, when you hear a song you like from any artist, I don't care if it's independent or major, y'all should share it. You know, show love, support it, buy it on iTunes for 99 cents. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the most you can do to really support. So I really, really appreciate that. Let me get my guy something here. I have... I'm getting a music video done, and I need to just send him something here. I think I need to send him What If. Yep, I'm gonna send him that. Dope. And let's get back to this. All right, so Black Leather. All right, so we got this vocal. This is the lead vocal. It's kind of a punch, you can tell. And here's another thing, like when you have a breath and like this kind of stuff overlapping, we want to clean up that edit. I always clean everything up. Like I go into detail with everything I do here.
Your pretty face is going to hell. house is going to hell. I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. For eternity, yeah, you crossed your heart, you'd never. For eternity, yeah, you crossed your heart, you'd never leave me. Know that I fucked up too many times, but a love like this is hard to find.
So those backgrounds are sounding real smooth now, like super butter, right? I love that. And I like backgrounds where you can't hear them, but you feel them. And if you take them out, you're like, what happened? Why did the vocal get so weird and so thin and boring? Right? So that's like really important for backgrounds and harmonies and stacks and things like that. You know, you don't always need to just hear them really loud and like, here's the background vocal, ha da da da, like stacking. Like it's just, that's obnoxious. Like once you make enough records, you realize the nuance is everything in records. Oh, another thing in Pro Tools or any DAW is to cut out any fat, right? So when you have these waveforms, you see like the actual clips. See, there's nothing on these clips in the front end of them. Like if you leave those, it actually takes up processing power for your CPU anytime it sees a waveform like this. So if it sees a clip at all, when it's playing this part right here, it puts it into the cache, okay? So see all these all when they're playing, they're taking up CPU performance, okay? So that's just a little tip for you. This is why I always go in here and I go, bam, you know, and I blade these things and I chop them up and everything because this will actually eat up CPU if I leave that stuff, okay? And the reason is because the computer has to kind of like get ready to play it. Audio always is using buffer and RAM and cache, you know, read up on all those things in computer terms, but it's really important that you take care of any processing and parts that aren't necessary, right? Like all that, just chop it up. And when people bounce stems, obviously it bounced from the beginning to the end of the song, which is what I want, but I don't want that necessarily in my mix. And usually I have an assistant just do all this stuff for me, like go in, chop it, make sure all the fades are there, clean up any noise, etc. But for this one, it's all me. So let's go. And also because I wanted to do these live streams and kind of show you guys the process on this. So there you go. So we still got synths to put in here, but I'm really mainly focused on these vocals, right? So vocal harms, we're going to get these in here. A couple other things that I want to show you guys, different kind of cheat codes and I don't know, maybe just shortcuts and shit. So on the lead vocal here, let's say I wanted to kind of, or this one, because this is the background we just did. Let's say I wanted to bypass some plugins and A/B them, like really quickly. You could. There's a couple key commands I want you to kind of know here. Shift 1 and Shift 2. So Shift 2, Shift 1, Shift 2. So these will kind of bypass all your plugins on the A through E and the F through J. So if you hit Shift 2, Shift 2 and 3, I'm sorry. So Shift 2 is going to be A through E, and then Shift 3 is inserts F through J. So if you hit them together, it's going to bypass all your inserts, right? So you can easily like A/B stuff, right? So check it out.
Going to hell, I guess I'm going as well. It doesn't seem too bad from what I can tell. Yeah, you crossed your heart, you'd never leave me. I know that I fucked up too many times, but this is
Just a really easy way to A/B things like, oh man, did I like that? Do I not like that? I should probably check. You know what I mean? What am I doing different? Am I taking out too much body? Am I adding too much high end? You know what I'm saying? It's very, very quick and easy to do that. Let me see. It's 2:30. Yeah, good to see you. How do you do gain staging? Negative 18 dB input? I don't understand that question at all. Sorry. Don't understand that question. Negative 18 dB input on gain staging. If you're talking about analog gear and inputting to like recording, I don't know what you're asking about on gain staging there. So maybe try and make a clearer question there. Okay, so let's get these vocals in as well. So we got those vocals. I like all that. This is the lead verse vocal. And then We have down here, let's bring these guys in too. Background vocals, background verse. Let's get these in because these are background verb. Or verse, probably verse. Okay, background verse harmonies. So let's hear these. And again, you can just click and output to the vocal mix bus real quick and solo them.
Baby, I don't wanna fight.
And you notice all that headphone bleed, and you notice that huge breath she took at the beginning, right? Like, you don't want any of that in this. This is just a harmony. It's just a background harmony vocal. So let's go up here and let's see if we don't already have this. I think we do. Yeah, this was the harmony bus send, right? So this is a sum of these two. So what we can do here is just hide and make inactive. Okay, we don't need those. That's what this is right here. And I'm actually, see this? This is annoying too. Like, cut that, fade that, because this is the baby pit. Like, she's really hitting the capsule hard right there. And it's not that hard because really you're seeing this really zoomed in, the waveform. But I want to take care of all that stuff. I want to really make sure that I clean up anything that's going to be just adding noise to the record. This record is like not super important to make pristine as far as the editing because it is kind of like a vibey, vintagey kind of sound. But I do want to make sure that I take some, some things out. Like a B or a P or a T that does that, it takes away from transients on other things. So background verse, let's bring these up and see where they're at. I think we have that on this as well. So you can see that this is the sum, the bus sum. So if I play these.
We're taking pictures in your back. We're taking pictures in your backseat.
All right, so we got hide and make inactive. I'm just making sure I have all my stems in the mix. Let's see. These are synths and stuff. So here's background verse. These might be the same, just might be part of a stack. Harmony bus. Yeah, so harm. Okay, so that's this here. I believe it's just part of this stack, which is great when when people give you the sum, because then you don't have to go through and you know what I mean? Like you have this weird puzzle thing going on with every little cut and every punch that they made. So I'm just using the stack, which is this is a sum, probably a bus, like an augs where all of these went to. And then I'm treating that thing overall in this mix because I don't feel like I need to just be running all these different little cuts. And I'm imagining, because this is a verse harm as well. So we can just hide and make inactive. Let's get into some other stuff here. Here's a guitar verse. This is probably pretty important. Let's see here. I don't think we have this one in. So let's pop this guitar in. And then make sure we're going out the instrument mix here. And this Pro Q3 I kind of did on this guitar. Let's see if that's different than this.
In the bar. No one else can.
That's gonna be a tough one to get in there. I want to hear the reference because these are just right on top of each other. So the only thing that I could think to do with this one to make this really fit into the mix is it does have some hair on it, which I like. I mean, that's probably what they were going for, is this light distortion or kind of a soft clipping on analog preamp drive or something.
In the black.
right? So it's pretty mid-range heavy. So we probably want to get it out of the center. That's like my number one thing I would want to do with this. When I play it, it sounds like it's too in the middle. Alright, sorry, we're playing the reference as well. For some reason it got unmuted. But yeah, so this really kind of like get rid of some of that distortion, because I feel like it's just gonna be it's gonna be pulling your ear to it when you don't really want that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that kind of like that kind of breaking up doesn't sound good unless you're trying to make the whole thing kind of break up. Otherwise, that's going to feel kind of like a mistake, I feel like. I'm going to compress it just a little bit. I'm going to tickle it with the R comp. At 1.8, 1.9, somewhere around there. I'm just going to tickle that. I'm going to put it on opto, smooth. The attack is going to be a little slower, and the release is going to be pretty fast here. Okay, that's sounding really cool. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to sort of melt it into the track. Okay, so melting it into the track to me is like chorusing, right? Let's go to Eventide and let's try a couple things. There is the H3000 Factory, which I think could be a really cool vibe on this. And there's a preset in here. I mean, there's a bunch of different presets, but kind of like the legacy stuff or just like a classic, you know, widening kind of effect. Dual shift. Let me see here. Micro pitch shift could work. And then we just kind of blend this in a little bit. Yeah, so you see here it's doing like -9, +9. So on the left, we're going +9 positive and negative on the right. And then this has a 25% delay. You could take that down a little bit. That's maybe what I'm thinking. And then you can mix this in. And let's see what this does.
For eternity, yeah, you cross your heart, you'd never leave me. Know that I fucked up too many times, but a love like this is hard to find. Baby, I don't wanna fight.
Yeah, see, now it's becoming like this really cool, just kind of texture. And it's sitting where it needs to sit, like painting a little bit. It's kind of like shading when you're using like pencil or charcoal and you're like coloring or you're drawing or something. You want that like little shade that kind of smears the edges and glues things together. So popping it in and out, you kind of like, oh, it gives this nice atmosphere. But then when you take it out, you're like, something's kind of missing, you know, like what's going on?
In the black leather heat, we're taking pictures in your backseat, and I tell you
Yeah, I really like it. It's like a texture that you miss when it's gone, but you definitely don't want to like really hear it a lot. You know what I mean? It's just like one of those things. Like it's like shading. That's how I'm feeling about that. It's not super important to the record. I don't go, that's the record right there. You know, we got to turn that up. Now, if the artist, the producer says like, yo, you got to turn that up, fine. Okay, I'm done. Good. Easy. But hopefully they agree with my decision here. You know what I mean? Like that's why people pay me. They're like, yo, you make good decisions with songs and textures and mixing and sonics. So that's why you're hired. You know what I mean? And then if they're like, oh, I didn't like that decision so much, that's when you do a revision. You know what I mean? It's not anything crazy. So that sounded good to me. I'm gonna take this guy. This is like an analog synth. I've been kind of like saving this, but maybe we want to try bringing this Pan Man up here. I just want to hear it. It's just like something I want to mess around with.
Cross your heart, you'd never leave me. Know that I fucked up too many times, but a love like this is hard to find. Baby, I don't wanna fight. Promise I'll be alright. Baby, when I'm with in the black leather heat, we're taking pictures in your backseat, and I tell you that no one
Okay, I kind of dig it, but I'm also kind of thinking, hold up, maybe we do a tremolo, yeah? I love tremolo on guitar, like, fuck off. Tremolo is just like, just gonna give it a little more movement. All right, so we're gonna kill the Pan Man, and we're gonna open up tremolo, tremolator, and we're going to just kind of grab a preset here. Let's do like a classic Dan Electro maybe. We'll start with this, just check it out.
promise I'll be alright. Baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. No one can save me, and I swear you're the one to blame. 'Cause baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it.
Yeah, it's kind of dope. You know what I mean? I want to try another thing, just like I want to move the H3000 after the tremolator and just see what that does.
But a love like this is hard to find.
Yeah, see, that's a vibe right there. Like, that's what I want. You know what I mean? I want it to feel like wavy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's super sick. I really like that. I'm gonna get rid of the pan man. But yeah, that's just like putting your own touch on something, right? So these two together, this like kind of finger style picked kind of vibe with the kind of tremolating, like flowy wave vibe. Like, listen to these together. Like, that's just sick. I love that. And it just kind of makes it all kind of work together a little bit better. And then the H3000 is really just making it a little wider and a little bit more wavy, like from a tape machine wow and flutter kind of vibe, which I really dig. I took the pitch so it's not as wavy. It was at -9. I took it to -5. And then I made the delay a little bit shorter on that. So there you go. Done and done. Like, that's a cool vibe now. I'm going to leave it alone for now. All right, so we got some background bridge, all that stuff, but we still got, what is this? Effects post chorus. I think I already got this in, but let's double check. It's like a post chorus effects kind of vibe. Let's see if there's, maybe I don't have it in. Let's try putting it in. Yeah, okay. So this, I have like an effects Vox thing here. But let's hear this one. This might just be like a whoosh or something. Okay, so that's kind of a vocal effect as well. We're just going to put it right on the same channel there as this one. Dope. Just popping that in real quick, and then we'll delete this guy. And then we just have, I think, these vocals at the end for the most part. Oh, here's a synth. We got a synth kind of swell thing. Let's see what we got here. I love tracks like this where they kind of like evolve and grow and change over time. Like, it's really fun to have new parts come in and stuff. And it just kind of makes the song more dynamic. So I'm actually going to put this... Okay, so this is the guitar. Let's see if we got other synths here. Yeah, all guitars, guitar. Here's an organ bus. You might want to mess with it being near this organ bus. We got to hear it first, but... All right, what do you got here? Do the Green Day style of tremolo. Nah. Green Day tremolo is not the look or the vibe on this. This is more like beachy, summer, dreamy... It's not a pop punk, or it's not like pop at all, I don't think. It doesn't feel punk. Hell yeah. Drums fat, man. That's how we do it. Yeah, tremolators are amazing. You love it on guitar, right, Brian? Like, who doesn't love a tremolator on guitar? Like, tremolo on guitar is the best ever. Yo, LJ, what do I prefer more, Logic or Pro Tools? That's a loaded question. So Logic Pro, I like to compose, produce in Logic Pro, and I do like sound design and arrangement and all that in Logic Pro. And I even mix and master in Logic, record, do all that. But when it comes to mixing and mastering, I prefer Pro Tools just because the audio. I've explained this many, many times on this channel, so I'm not going to like go into depth on this explanation, but if I zoom way in on this waveform, this is what I get, right? And then I can kind of come out of the waveform view and I could see sample accurate waveform view all the way around. I can see any problems, I can see the beginnings, I can see the start of the waveform and exactly where it's at. This is just very, very difficult with mini DAWs. Mini DAWs don't do this sort of sample accurate audio. They just don't. Like, you know, fight me if you want. People disagree with that. There's no way. Like, you see this kind of stuff? Like, look at this little minute stuff. These trailing noises and stuff. You could zoom way in. You could see all the noise. You can see every single detail all the way down to every sample. It's crazy, man. Like, Pro Tools just really, really good with audio, right? Built-in Melodyne. Just everything's just very audio, right? Plugins, routing, busing, mixer, sends, groups, being able to, you know, kind of do different views on the sends. And, you know, it's just a lot of stuff in Pro Tools that is just made for audio. And it's just how it is, man. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, oh, heat. I got to activate heat on everything too. That's a cheat code, just so you guys know. Like, I'll show you what that is. When I activate heat, this is going to be basically like a tape machine kind of idea on the whole thing. And I think it's actually already on. Let me see here. Options. Yeah, activate heat. So heat is already on. And then you can see it here. It says like pre-bypass. You can turn it on or off per channel. But heat is like a great way to give some sort of like analog feel to the whole thing. A lot like UAD does with their DAW. I forget the name of it, but a lot of people like that part of it. Anyway, yeah, Pro Tools for the win when it comes to audio. I think MIDI-wise, I like Logic Pro better for MIDI. And for like scoring and composition and, you know, VSTs, like using soft synths and stuff like that, I like Logic Pro better for that stuff. Let's listen to the synth.
From what I can tell, eternity, yeah,
so I kind of like this. This is super glassy, and I like that part of it, but it also has like some really wheeling like 2K, 3K area, which is really going to kill everything that it touches, right? Like, it's very intense. So what I'll do here is, first I'll just pop a Pro Q3, like an EQ on here. Doesn't matter what EQ you use, but just to kind of like tame out some of this stuff.
seems too bad from what I can tell. Eternity, yeah, you cross your heart, you'd never.
Just a touch of tame, right? And then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a plugin that I just absolutely love from Baby Audio. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. It's just like one of my favorite reverbs. Yeah, Spaced Out. It's so dope. And it's so vibey, and you can just get really cool shit with it really quickly. So, like, for example, let's go in Beautiful Roads. There you go.
Seems too bad from what I can tell. Eternity, yeah, you cross your heart, you'd never leave me. Know that I fucked up too many times, but a love like this is hard to find. cross your heart, you'd never leave me. Know that I fucked up too many times, but a love like this is hard to find. I don't wanna fight, promise I'll be alright. Baby,
Really cool synth. Like, I just like that vibe. Typically, like, if you want to put something in the back more, you want to take out the mid-range more and the tops, right? So that's all I'm doing. I'm just taking the top. I'm taking the 2.4 and the 1K kind of area, dipping it back, 2 dB and 3 dB, boosting up the 350, because that's really where you're going to find warmth, right? Like, and warm, like, background gives it like a pad. It like gives it something to hold on to, right? The bass is going to be lower. The kick drum, all that stuff's going to be lower. But then that like, woo, that like 350 area, that's Soul Records right there. All right, let me solo this out just so you can hear it.
baby, I don't want.
Right, just makes it kind of whistle in a really nice, warm, organic feel. Instead of it feeling like, because I can tell that synth is supposed to sound kind of hybrid-y, like organic, but still like a synth. Like, it still has that like almost like it wants some tape kind of, saturation on it. And it wants to feel like, is this a string? Is this like an analog synth and a string? Like, you want to kind of, you want to skew those lines. I could just tell that that's what Jake wanted as a production, like, and he might correct me, I don't know, but that's what I'm gonna stick with, because I like that vibe. And this spaced out plugin is insane. You guys got to pick this up if you got a little extra coin sitting around. Well worth it. Shit's amazing. As far as like reverb effects go, this is one you want to pick up because it's so different and unique. Like, it just sounds different than most any reverb I use. And it has like this delay kind of section, and then it has the reverb here, and then it has a blend with an XY knob. So you can like blend delay with the reverb, the dry with the wet. You can do a bunch of crazy cool shit with it. It just sounds cool, it's fun, and it's great for like sound designing, sculpting, etc. All right, so we got another synth here. I think this is probably a similar vibe, is what it kind of looks like to me, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's listen to it. More direct kind of mellotron vibes, right? So the flutes with the organ kind of vibe. So what I want to do with this maybe is just kind of mess it up a little bit more. Make it sound a little bit more vibey. It's pretty vibey, but it's just not, I don't know. I'll have to hear it in context. But let's put it through the instrument mix first. And we'll take it down so it's not crazy loud. Double click, give it a red here. And then let's kind of get it in the mix and hear it. Yeah, it's like right on top of the vocal. So I got to be really careful with this one. And also listen to the reference. I'll bounce back and forth, but we still have these lead vocals for the bridge that we need to kind of get together. Because like there's ooze bus, which I'm imagining are these guys. So I'm going to hide and make inactive. And then ooze here. Yeah, all these ooze, I think these are all going to this. They're all like grouped into this. And then what do we got here? Bridge harm. Okay, we got harmonies here. Bridge harm probably. Yep. So I'm looking for the lead. Yeah, here's the lead vocal for the bridge. Then it looks like here's like a cut of it. Yeah, it seems like these are the same, like lead vocal, lead vocal. And this is a response, call and response kind of vibe. So let's listen to the reference and see what that's got going on, if there's any like new textures to the bridge vocals that the producer was doing. Just to get ideas.
We're on fire, yeah, we're on fire. We're burning love. At the diner, we're up late. Baby, let's just run away. We can drive up to Monterey. And I don't care about what they say. You're the blood running in my veins. I don't care about what they say.
Dope. I really like this part. This is going to be fun. And so there's two ways you could think about this. Like, do we go like small, like what it's doing? Or do we have one thing like really floaty, like the background ooze, you know what I mean? But I think the lead vocal here needs to be treated a lot like the lead vocal on the verses. So like this lead vocal here, like let's just pop that down just to hear it real quick in the mix. Because I feel like this is the tone that is already there. Maybe we back off the reverb a little bit, right? Because it just feels really like a little bit drier on the bridge part.
At the diner, we're up late. Let's just run away. We can drive up to Monterey.
Yeah, I think that's going to be great. That already just feels good. And then the other lead vocal here, I think these can be married. There doesn't need to be a cut here, right? So just bam, bam. And then just to be safe, always do a little crossfade there. Dunzo. And then this is like the response here. So in the response, I don't feel like that's like much different than the lead. So we're going to just give this a duplicate here. And we might tweak it a little bit. I doubt it though. Just seems like it's a little quieter. Maybe we go a little bit more mono or stereo with it, just to give it a little bit more of a dimension to bounce off of. But let's hear that.
At the diner, we're up late. Baby, let's just run away. We can drive up to Monterey.
Okay, I gotta mess with this flute because it's just like not interesting. It's really kind of boring to me. So let's go in and give me some RC20 on this. Real simple. Like, I don't want to fuck with this too long. You know what I mean? I just don't think that it needs a ton of crazy stuff going on. But I do think it needs a little bit more stereo, a little bit more like non-linearities. We'll go wow more than flutter on this, and we'll go really slow on the rate. And then we might distort just a little bit of this mid-range area, right? Just a little bit, just to give it a hug. This is cool too. I always like this. And then, yeah, we could take the top off a little bit, take that tone down, widen it just a touch. I don't know if it'll need widening.
At the diner, we're up late. Baby, let's just run away. We can drive up to Monterey. The diner, we're up late. Baby, let's just run away. We can drive up to Monterey. And I don't care about what they say. You're the blood running in my veins. I don't care about what they what they say. You're the blood running in my veins. I don't care about what they say.
Cool. So there's some like really great opportunities for like some automation and things like throwing to like these, like maybe some more distortion, or, you know, like some like things to move and, you know, go up and down and do crazy shit. But for now, I feel like that's like a really like a good spot for that organ kind of sound, right? The synth sound, if you will. And then here's the ooze, the bridge ooze, and the harmonies here. I'm gonna bring this bridge ooh up here, and there is another ooh in here, and I want to just kind of like keep things kind of dialed in where they have cohesiveness across the record. So a lot of the times, like if you do one thing to, you know, something, then you might want to try it on another thing and go, hey, those sound now like they're a little bit more grouped, right? So there's like, here's background harms, here's a pitch hook, vox swell, ooze, bust some right here, right? So we want to maybe pop these guys next to this, these background vibes. These are the ooze here, and these are the ooze, lots of ooze, ooze and ahs, baby. And then these kind of overlap, so we're just gonna drag that up, drag it and drop it. That's RC20 as well on that. And we're going to take it out the choir Vox bus, which is where these are going, right? And this is gonna give it just like dimension and stuff. But let's hear it. Let's check it out.
At the dino, let's just run away. We can drive up to Monterey, and I don't care about what they say. You're the blood running in my veins. I don't care about what they say. Baby, let's just run away. We running in my veins. I don't care about what they say. Baby, let's just run away. Baby, let's just run away. Baby, let's just run away. We can drive up to Monterey. Baby, let's just run away. We can drive up to Monterey, and I don't care about. We can drive up to Monterey, and I don't care about what they say. You're the what they say. You're the blood running in my veins. I don't care about what they say.
All right, we're just kind of balancing these in. I'm trying to make sure those harmonies don't like get really loud right there. I feel like they're just like getting a little too aggressive on top of the lead. And we also want to make sure, yeah, okay, so here's like bridge harmonies here as well for, I believe this affects like response. So I'm not sure if like this is all the same and I'm just like doubling up on this.
Baby, let's just run away. Let's just run away.
All right, cool. So those are like high harms right there. And, you know, this is kind of part of the game when you start doing this kind of stuff. You want to really pay attention to what's happening, right? Because there's a lot of different parts that come in and out. And this is why, like, you know, you charge more when you have a lot of vocals. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot to, like, go through and make sure that it all is treated very well. You know what I mean? Like, it's tedious. Like, you could spend hours just organizing shit, you know? I mean, you didn't make the record. So as a mixing engineer, you're getting this thing that you're like, there's a lot. It's a lot, guys. Thanks for all the stems. You know, the producer's like, oh, it's not that bad. Maybe you charge me like $300 for it. And you're like, fuck no. I'm not getting paid $5 an hour to work on your record. Sorry. Like, no, I'll work at McDonald's, man. So yeah, so this is going to go bam, bam, bam. And then I'm just kind of taking these bridge harmonies and building the chains here with them. And then we can like kind of delete anything that is left over here.
Baby, let's just run away. 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 We can drive up to Monterey. And I don't care about what they say. You're the blood running in my veins. I don't care. Baby, let's just run away. We can. You're the blood running in my veins. I don't care about what they say.
So you're hearing some distortion there, right? On that vocal, and it might be a stack of everything, but we got to be careful. That can't happen, you know. So that frequency really starts to peak out. What we want to do here is make this dynamic and just tuck it back when it hits too hard, right? Like this is really, really important with this, with gain staging. You know, you hit something too hard and then, and it like, it's hitting all these other things, especially when it starts to stack up with like other things, like the O's, the says on the harmonies, the lead, you know, there's a bunch of stuff. Here's O's here as well. So we want to make sure we get rid of these because these are not what we want. I think these are already grouped. Yeah, that's probably what it's doing. It's stacking up these. So this is the bus sum. And then these are all the O's by themselves as well. So we're like probably compounding on these. So what I'm gonna do is hide and make an active those. And then let's hear that same phrase. But definitely like I want to tuck down that 800 to 900 area.
Say, I don't care about what they say. Say,
All right, so gain staging is a lot to do with this, right? We have to make sure we hit the gains right, or else they're going to clip out other things. You guys, that's literally all the time I got tonight for a stream. I said I was going to finish this up, but I talked a lot for the for the beginning of this shit, and now it's like almost 7:30, and I just got a couple things I got to finish off, and probably take an ear break on this, and then I'll finish this by myself. But last things I'm going to do on this, just so I can run this by you guys real quick before I get out of here. The last thing I'm going to be doing is getting these last little parts in, because this is a big part. It's like an epic ending with a guitar solo kind of thing. A lot of this just takes a lot of automation and gaining and, like, you know, moving and all that stuff. So it's really, really important that you spend the time on these like parts, and the parts are everything for these kind of songs. But just to give you an A/B of where we're at and where the reference was. So here's the reference. I'm just gonna bypass in and out the mix and the reference, just so you guys can hear the difference here.
Oh, baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane. I'm spinning out of control, no one can save me, and I swear you're the one to blame. Baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane. I'm spinning out of control, no one can save me, and I swear you're the one to blame. Oh, baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane. Baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane. I'm spinning out of control, no one can save me, and I swear you're the one to blame. 'Cause baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane. But we're on fire, yeah, we're on fire. Baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane. Oh, baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane. I'm spinning out of save me, and I swear you're the one to blame. 'Cause baby, when I'm with you, I go crazy. Yeah, you love it, drives me insane. But we're on fire, yeah, we're on fire. We're burning love at the diner where.
So I feel like we're really getting a lot more out of the record. It feels bigger. It feels more spacious. It wraps around you. It takes you into the world. The reference feels two-dimensional. It feels in front of you. It feels flat. It feels kind of boring, to be honest with you. And I think it has a lot to do with the balance of instruments as well. Like the drums are like boom, pff, kuh, boom, boom, kuh. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of like, this is kind of boring, you know? And then what I'm trying to do is just kind of open up everything, make it feel like it's like, wow, this is a really big, this is beautiful, you know? Like what she's saying, you have to embody that. And she kind of sounds chill, you know what I mean? Like her vibe is kind of like, baby, I don't miss you, I do. Like, you don't want that to get boring. That's really, really a hard thing to balance when you're mixing. So again, I'll just bounce back and forth from the reference, just different parts here, just so you can really understand what I'm trying to get across here with the mix. But a lot of it is just like expansion. It's like, wow, we're getting into a whole new world. I want you to feel like, yeah, this is a vibe.
In the black leather heat, we're taking pictures in your backseat, and I tell you that. In the black leather heat, we're taking pictures in your backseat, and I tell you that no one else can love you like I do. In the black
Yeah, another thing, if you pay attention to the EQ and what was going on in the reference, it's like this, like, I'll show you the frequency, but it's really boring. Like, it makes the track feel like, kind of feels like, oh man, this is like a little too sleepy. You know what I mean? So what I would try to do with the vocal is make it more star power. You know what I mean? Make it more part of the track. Make it more like a record where when you hear it, you don't hear it as like, here's this vocal telling a story that's really not that interesting, you know, kind of vibe, to like, oh wow, now we're in a movie. You know, like that's really, really important. I think it's the difference between, if you've ever like edited video, right? You put the video and the clips together and stuff and you're like, it looks pretty good. Yeah, I like the edit. But then someone goes in and they color it and they like get the lighting right and the exposure right and the contrast right and the white balance and everything is like really, really right and spot on. And the different environments that they go to, like the cafe and it's dimly lit, you know what I mean? And then like half the face is lit up, you know what I mean? And the guy like comes out of the bathroom, you know, and it's kind of dark. And, you know, there's this like red light kind of in the back, you know, there's a lot of like dimension to the lighting and the textures and the set design and stuff. And that's what mixing is to me. Mixing is like that part of it. It's like the coloring and the tones and the vibes that are unspoken, you know, like you have to give the vibes that are unspoken, the things that like really make it a record and not just like a song that feels like someone just started twisting knobs on, you know. Not to say that that's what the reference sounds like, because I think Jake did a really good job like with the reference mix. I just feel like what my job is now is to take it and go, okay, I see what you guys are trying to do. You know what I mean? I see your vision. Now let me expand it. Let me show you the real worlds and like bring your listener in. Let your listener really experience the record and the story and the atmospheres and all the things and all the work you guys did, because they did a lot of work, you know what I mean? Like you can see there's a ton of stems and there's different parts and cuts and like there's different you know, like here's a drum fill thing that has 1, 2, 3, 4 different stacks with fills and stuff. And then, you know, the synth here and then a different synth here. And there's just all these different things that they thought about. And you know, if these aren't treated with the utmost, like, you know, importance and balancing and texture and timbre and all that, then it falls flat. You know what I mean? It just kind of feels like, oh, that's not really that exciting. You know what I mean? That's whatever. I thought we were going somewhere way cooler than that. This isn't very cool. It's like when someone takes you to that bar and they're like, this bar is really dope. It's kind of a dive bar or whatever, but it's really cool. And you go there and you're like, this place sucks. There's like a guy throwing up in the corner and like it smells funny and I'm not having fun here. You know, this place is shithole. So you got to like make sure that you get that point across from the producer, the songwriter, etc. So that's it. That's the job of mixing and mastering, you guys. And you know, sound design, production, all that stuff plays a huge role in it. But, you know, as a mixing engineer, it's cool because you get to focus in on the things that the producer really didn't have enough time to focus in on. And that's why I think producers, artists, they hire mixing engineers, because a lot of y'all just lose sight. You don't understand. You know what I mean? First of all, the majority of artists and producers mixing and mastering themselves, they don't understand what a finished product of that song actually could be, right? They're like, oh, this is great. I think this is great. I think it sounds great. It's like, yeah, but you've been living with it, you know? So like when you present it to an audience, the audience is like, this is shit. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, I thought it was really good. You know, I've been working really hard on this, but you lose sight. And we all do, by the way. Like when you're producing yourself, when you're writing yourself, you're playing the guitar, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing everything yourself. You're like, I think that's pretty good. I did a good job. Oh, I'm good at mixing, you know? And then you're like, your audience is like, that's not really like a movie. That's not really a record. That's like, good job, buddy. You know, you're doing great. Keep playing your thing and keep doing your thing. You know, you're getting better at this. You know what I mean? People are like, pat you on the back. But what you want is people going, holy shit, this is amazing. You did this? You know what I mean? When you're really like, well, I did this, a producer helped me, a writer helped me, a mixing engineer did the mix, like, but yeah, I did it. It's my song. You know what I mean? And a lot of the times us mixing engineers, we don't take credit. We're not like, I mixed that song. It's usually like the artist, the producer's like, yeah, we made this song, right? They're not like, oh, and also Bradley mixed it and he did a great job. Like, they're not really giving that kind of credit. You know what I mean? Like, even on Spotify, it's so hard to just get your credit on stuff. I've worked on projects, you guys, that you wouldn't even fucking believe. You'd be like, you did not work on that. Like, yes, I did. But I didn't get credited, of course, So I recorded it, I mixed it, I engineered the shit out of it, I tuned a bunch of vocals, I did a ton of stuff on it. And it's like, I did all this work and then someone else goes, that's my song, I did that, And you're like, ugh. But at the end of the day, that's the job. The job is that you have to really enjoy bringing something to life, giving it that extra thing that people go, wow, that's a great piece of music. That's a great record. That's a great movie. That's a great story. That's a great thing, right? Rather than, good job for you. You did a good job. You did it all yourself? Wow. Good boy. Good girl. Your friends on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, they're like, wow, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. You don't want that. You want people going like, holy shit, this is amazing. Who did this? Wait, you made this? You made this, Brian? You made this, Drew? Holy shit, Philippe, this is your record? You know what I mean? That's what you want. This is not a hobby. Like, it is a hobby for a lot of people, but for me, it's not a hobby. This has nothing to do with hobby. This has everything to do with always continually trying to make things incredible. Experiences. When people play a record, they play a song of mine, I want them to have an experience. I want them to play it over and over. I want them to get excited about it. I want them to dance to it, laugh to it. I want them to have an experience. I don't want them to go, the mixes, wow, like, what did you put on the vocal? Nobody fucking cares. I want you to experience the song. So that's what we have to do as mixing engineers. It's what we have to do as producers. It's what we have to do as songwriters. People should not be hearing your writing. They should be following your story, right? They should be involved and interested in what's going to happen next. All right, you guys. I love you guys. Thanks for coming by. If you got anything out of this, subscribe to the channel, join it, get access to all the replays on this stuff. I'm not going to keep this up on the channel. So if you want to go back on it, you need to join the channel. I'm tired of giving a bunch of free shit to people that don't give a shit about it. That's the truth. I want the people that pay attention. And those are the people that I continue to work with and I continue to help. And they actually get results. So that's why I put this up against a membership on my channel. It's $5 a month. You can access all the replays to all my live streams, everything. And you guys, I really, really, really appreciate the support on the new record. Bring those good times back. Keep streaming it up. Keep sharing it. Keep, making content and stuff. It means a lot to me. I spent a lot of time, a majority of my life doing this stuff and getting good at it. And I think I'm finally getting okay at it. So I'll see you guys later.